Hi crafters, Raquel here from Paints and Glitter. I'm a crafter for Tonic Studios, and today we're unboxing Craft Kit 95. This is the Elegant Argyle Craft Kit number 95 from Tonic Studios, and it creates this really cute little handbag. And this list that you get inside of your kit will let you know exactly what's inside. And you get a little folio or little envelope here. They call it a wallet that contains all of the items that are exclusive to this kit. You're also going to receive a full set of 8x8 papers. So this is an entire collection. And you also get a larger wallet with papers from Tonic Studios. So let's take a peek at what's in here. Let's start with the exclusive papers. I'm super excited to see what's in here. So let's take a closer look at the 8x8 papers. You do get 18 sheets total. They are printed on 200 GSM card, and you do get 3 each of 6 different double-sided designs. So you get the pink, blue, and brown on this one with a little light cream color. On the opposite side, you get the blue and brown with a dark blue stripe and that cream color as well. And you also get this lighter blue version and then a deeper cream line. And on the other side, you do get some cut aparts here that you can use. There are the stripes here, but then there are sentiments on these little tags. Thank you, smile, open in case of emergency, you deserve a little luxury, bags of joy, life's too short, oh go on then, with love, you got this, and then the little circles here. So these will be useful, and you'll see how. There's this beautiful pattern here that has little scissors and the intersections here of what appears to be a quilted background. Very cute. And then on the other side, there's a stripe in the center. Very pretty with the pink. And there's this version that looks quilted as if it were stitched fabric. I really like that. And then on the other side, there's a cream version of that with that zigzag pattern. Then there's this square pattern, but the lines vary there. And then there is a very, very light gingham background there. And then there's a more creamy yellow version of that. And there's this one here that also appears quilted. So they all do look like fabric. It's so cool. And then there's the brown version of that. So pretty. So those are all the fabric-like versions of paper. Now let's take a look at what's inside the wallet. And every 3 months you're going to get a hard-bound wallet or binder, sorry, that will house your little wallets. So that's going to be super cool. So you can get organized. Here's your sticker. It says Elegant Argyle. You can place that right in the front. And then on your hard binder, if you'd like to, you can use the thinner ones so that you know exactly how to find your items. Let's start here. There's a full set of stamps. Oh my goodness. This is really stamp heavy. I love this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's the little rectangular stamps here that are going to coincide, if you see that, with that shape, okay? And there are so many more sentiments there. So if you'd like to pause the video, you can take a look at all of that. But awesome sentiments here. I like this. Your friendship is always valued. Sisters in style. Kindness inside. A gift of appreciation packed with sparkle. I love that. Sending smiles over miles. Hello, lovely. Stylish and sweet. Oh my gosh, so many adorable sentiments. And then there are these little florals. Very, very pretty. And of course, different line styles on those rectangles. So this one has a stitch line. And these have solid lines, but the thinner lines on the outside for this one, thinner line on the inside for that one. So I love that there's variety there. And of course, these are going to coincide with your dies. Now the exclusive dies in these kits are not reproduced. by Tonic Studios. So if you like to get your hands on beautiful dies that will create exclusive types of projects, you're going to want to subscribe to the kit. You also get a 10% discount on anything else in the store whenever you are a subscriber. So take a look at this. There are layers that you're going to be able to use, little scissors and stars, a little happy face there. Here's the circular tag that you're going to be able to use with all of those awesome little stamps or the images in the paper. And then alternately, there is the other tag that you can use, the little rectangle here. And this one, by the way, has a stitch line all the way around. And there are other die sentiments that you can also use instead of the papers or the stamps. So that's really cool. Let's see what these say. Made with love. Thank you. Can never go wrong with those. And then there's this one that will deboss into your paper so that this does not cut. This one says little bag of love. Oh, I love that. So cute. But I'm loving this. There's a little lock. So those of you who love the little closures with locks, there's that. There's a little key. There are zippers. And I'm really liking those different types of textures there. And there's also textures here for the little circle that you could vary. There's a button one, a waffle style there, a deboss one, and then there's textures also for the handle. So cute. And here's the little rectangular tag, by the way. So there's not just the rectangle that you can use for the sentiments, but they're also going to fit inside of that little tag. Super exciting. Oh wait, there's more. There's also full instructions with every kit, just to let you know. There's also the little key fob here, so that's super exciting because you can use this for a lot of different makes. There's another little zippered portion there. Super cool. And there, guys, this is really big because there's 4 pages, if you will, of dies on here. That's very unusual for a kit. Let's take a peek at the papers. Okay, so in this kit you are receiving not 1, but 2 sheets, full sheets of the ivory white classic card. This is 80 pound in weight, linen weave, and then also a smooth side for your stamping. You're getting it also in espresso brown. You're getting it in the raspberry pink, which is very elegant. You're also getting it in fuchsia pink, very gorgeous color. And these are so nicely saturated, and when you cut into them with your dies, you're not going to get a white edge. It's going to be full color. You also get it in cornflower blue. You're also going to get one of my personal favorites, and that is 2 sheets of the pearlescent in blue cashmere. I absolutely love that color. And lastly, there is also a mare card in chrome silver, so you get all of your shine there. And I'm sorry if my camera did not pick that up too well. It doesn't do well with reflections, but I'm going to get started crafting. And the one thing that I'm going to say is that this is an A5 size die set. You get a bonus stamp collection. You get 8x8 papers, and you get all of the papers that I showed you here. There is no better value on the market when it comes to craft kits. I can tell you from experience, so I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already done so. You will not regret it because there's no commitment. So if, for instance, this type of kit is not for you or any other kit, you can always skip them and there's no penalty. So you're not obligated to keep anything that you don't like, and that I love that about Tonic Studios. So I'm going to start cutting and then I'll be back and we'll craft together. Okay, we are going to actually start with the purse. So just to be clear, this does make a small purse and it also makes a bag. And the little purse, which is this one here, will fit inside of the bag. And this portion here is going to allow you to place a gift card within the slit that you see there, which is really neat. So for this, you need 2 pieces that look like this. You need these 2, and then you need 2 that look like this. That's going to help you assemble this. I'm going to go ahead and decorate this with pretty layers. from the paper collection. So starting here, I'll go ahead and adhere this. And what's really neat about the dies is that, of course, it gives you the delineation there so that you know what the paper should look like when you place it on your die, or I should say on your die cut. There are also these pieces that you can cut out to decorate this portion. Also have the option of cutting this piece here, and you also do have a different option that you can use. So I'll show you here. We just use this die here twice. We use this one twice as well, and then we use that layer piece here, these two layer pieces, and then here is this one that you can run through with that die cut if you choose to do so. And that actually debosses into the paper. It will leave a demarcation line of that pattern. The other option is to use this die here, and that's what I've done, and cut that out 4 times. Super pretty. So I'm going to actually place it here along this little edge. Placing an acrylic block on top of these just to hold that paper down for me. In the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is taking this portion here, and I'm going to simply attach it by overlapping this one on top of the other. That's how they will connect in the center. So I am going to fold this. I'm going to use a metal ruler just to help me fold this, and I'm simply going to pull the paper toward that edge so that I can then burnish this. This is specialty cardstock, so it's a little bit heavier than what I would say the regular cardstock is, and you want to be careful when you're folding it. You want to burnish that gently. There's also a fold line at the bottom. You may as well just fold and burnish that as well. So being very careful here with the application, I'm simply going to apply a very thin bead of adhesive. I'm going to flatten this back out again and adhere the other one right on top. set this aside for just one moment and return to this one. Here you're going to fold and burnish the bottommost fold here. These are going to overlap as well, right along the bottom. Once you've done that, you have these pieces. What you're going to do is fold along the score lines away from yourself, all of the score lines. Using that square tab, apply some adhesive and line that up with the edge of this little middle portion there. Fold these little portions in and apply adhesive to those two tabs. Fold this again and bring them toward that middle channel and then press so that these just rest right on the bottom here. And you can use your paper creaser to help you hold it down. It should look like that, and then just repeat the same on the opposite side. While these are drying, now you can go back to the little gift card panels, and because this is all ready to go, just go ahead and burnish that one more time just to be sure that it's folding the proper way here. Now that it's all adhered, just be gentle with the paper, especially if you're using pearlescent card. On the bottom part here, you have the two tabs that are going to overlap. Here you want to place some adhesive on one of the tabs. Use the second tab to adhere it onto that first one. And then just hold on to that. Once that is dry, you're actually going to be able to fit this right in the center here. This is going to go right in the middle. Then to close this, you have these little inner flaps on both sides. These are going to feed through the top and the bottom slit on the sides of the little purse here. So top and bottom. And you should be able to do the same thing on the opposite side. Feed that through the top and also through the bottom. And that's how you can close this. And your little gift card's going to fit right in the center, that little slit that you see there. And this is plenty cute, but of course we're going to continue on because this is going to now fit in the center of the other handbag that we're going to create. We're going to start with two pieces that look like this, and this is the largest die in the set. Go ahead and fold these along the score line. At this point, I am going to apply one layer of card here, and this is that beautiful paper from the paper pack. I've gone ahead and cut it with the layering die, and that's going to be super obvious because it's the only one that's going to fit here. So I am going to decorate this while it's still flat. Just make sure that these fit right within the lines created by the die. Join right in the center. So these are going to overlap. Go ahead and apply your adhesive to one of the side panels. Overlap these by meeting that fold line. Make sure that you're able to fold in both directions. And then burnish. Check the other side as well. Make sure this is nice and straight. You're also going to adhere side panels to this. They're going to look like this. Now it's up to you whether you want to adhere them so that you hide these little tabs. I'm just going to go ahead and adhere them here. It's not going to bother me, but you need two pieces that look like this. I'm also going to decorate these while they're flat, however. The way that I've done this is I've gone ahead and used the same exact die, and you're going to notice that it has a little notch in the center. And what I've done is I've cut the decorative paper with the same one, and then I cut away the portions that I did not want to use so that I could layer these right on top, like so. And there's also a little decorative layer that you can cut. It's super pretty and it looks like this. So I've cut that out of that chrome paper, and that's going to fit right along the top here. So I'm first going to adhere these layers and I'll be right back. This is what they should look like if you decide to apply any layers like that. And now you have 3 tabs that you want to make sure you fold away from yourself. You'll notice the bottom one is a little bit thinner, so just be careful there. Fold them all as mountain folds and be sure to burnish them before you adhere them. Back to the bottom of this little bag, and using the thinnest edge here, which is this thinner tab, you can adhere this all the way to the edge as well. these side panels are also going to adhere to the front and back of your little handbag through these little tabs here. So what you want to gauge is that when it's fully closed, you're going to want it to look like this on the sides. So you want that little triangle to fit nicely on that side and on the other. So given that, then place your paper where you see that that little triangle is going to remain upright. And then if you need to, you can mark this with a pencil, or you can just gauge the distance there and then apply adhesive to one tab first. And I'm actually going to close it fully. And once it's fully closed, that's when I'm going to press down on that tab. And I know it's not going to be possible for me to show this on the camera angle, but I'll show you in a moment what that looks like. Okay, that's the angle there at which I've adhered the little tab. It starts at the outermost corner and then just works its way in. So that way, when it closes, that line is going to be flush here against the side. That's how you're going to gauge that. Hopefully you can see it there. I'm just holding that triangle flat there, but I'm only adhering the little tab at the bottom edge. Hopefully you can see that. So hold the triangle there, but only adhere that bottom little edge tab. It's going to allow that to then move back and forth. Adhesive on that tab. And then very gently place this triangle flat against this edge as if you were closing it, and then just press on that little tab. And I'm so sorry I'm not able to show the angle fully as I film. So I'm going to try to show it again. There they are, adhered to the bottom, and the only portion that I adhered was the little tab there, but when I push this close, those triangles are flush against the side of that paper. Hopefully that makes sense. So now I'm going to repeat the same step on these two tabs. Once you get the first two done, it's going to be super easy. Just hold your little triangle flush against this edge here. So you're directing the paper. Once you have it positioned, then press on the tab for this design. Okay, so you want to hold that triangle all the way down. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this when it's fully opened. So you see how the tabs fit inside. That may show you a little bit better. With this little die here, cut out 2 pieces of cardstock, so you end up with 4 little pieces that look like this. They're your little tabs, and adhere them along the pointy edge. So you want to fold these as a valley fold and burnish them, but if you want to, you can just fold them with your fingers like that and just pinch that paper so that you get a valley fold. And then adhere your paper along this portion here that has a little bit of a pointy edge. You're going to adhere these front to back. So you're going to do that twice. It's going to look like a little bit of a sundial. once you have those fully dry, feed them through this little portion here. You have a little slit here. And what you want to make sure you do is that you place it with that pointy portion facing up, right in here. And you're going to do that on both sides. So you need adhesive on the little half moon tabs now. On both sides there. Hold that gently. Place it inside of that little slit and then hold on to that. All right, and then hold on to that. If you'd like to, you can take one of the circles that will fall out from one of the other pieces, or take one of the other circle dies and adhere a little circle right on top to cover that. It'll look really pretty once it's nice and finished. So this is part of what's going to help you close your little handbag. I'm going to set it aside a moment. The other pieces that you'll need look like this, and you're going to want to cut 4 of them. You also want pieces that look like this, and you also want 4 of those. I've taken the blue cashmere paper and also taken the little triangle portion that you can use to decorate it and just cut those out of that chrome paper and adhered them right on top. The others I just cut out of the ivory cardstock. And I did cut a little circle with the stitch circle die included, and I used one of the little stamps and some blue ink from my stash, and I thought that would match nicely with the paper, so I did stamp that. I also have a decorative portion here for the handbag, so we'll be using that. Got little corner pieces that you can cut out. There's a little star charm that you can cut out. I've cut it out twice and just backed it up with the same color. There's also a tag, and I've cut out the sentiment and then also used the deboss plate. It says little bag of love on there, so I'll be using that. There is a little key. There's this that looks like a little key fob to me, so that's how I intend to use it. And there's also a little lock. You can cut it out to look like this if you would like to, or you do have the option of this little 3-dimensional lock, so we'll be making this one. And there's also a little pair of scissors. I've cut it out twice and then cut away the loop from one of them and just adhered it right on the back. And using one of the other circles, I did cut out this little decorative piece here. My intention is to use it on the little key fob. So you decorate this as you like. There's also this portion here that looks like a little zippered pocket. You can cut the little zippered portion from the center using the shinier paper if you would like to. So there's lots of options, and of course if you have a zipper, you need a zipper pull, so I've cut out the more decorative one. We'll be using that. And there's also this portion here, which we're going to use in a moment, and there's this zipper piece that's longer, so that's another option. So lots of different ways in which we can decorate this bag, and I think this is the fun part, of course. So let's start with the easy portion. That's the little handlebar here. Then we'll move on to the side portion. While we have this here, let's go ahead and adhere these parts. I really want Tonic Studios to make a mirror cardstock that looks like tortoiseshell. If anyone can make that, that would be super cool. But this is going to fit perfectly, of course, just like that. So you get that shiny handle, so pretty. And flip that over and do it again. Once you have those placed on there, we can start working on what's going to help us close this bag. And the way you're going to do that is take two of these and overlap them right in the center where the circle is and adhere them together. You can use a grid in the background if you need to make sure they're lined up perfectly. You're going to notice there are little score lines on both sides, so go ahead and fold those away from yourself. Just a gentle fold there. You're going to adhere onto these little portions here. So I'm going to adhere them along this edge here, which is the uppermost edge. You're going to notice that it does have that little bend there. So apply your adhesive on the small tab, and I'm going to adhere the decorative portion first. I'm going to be placing this decorative little portion here in the center. Making sure that that faces the way that I like. And then I'm going to flip this over. The other portion is going to fit on the opposite side of these little tabs here. So the same way you did it before. It's going to match here along this top edge. Apply adhesive along that short tab, and then make sure that you are adhering it along the uppermost portion of this little side portion here. Okay, once you have that adhered, you do want to reinforce these, so that's where these come in, and it's going to hide the little tabs as well, but this is going to get some use, so you want to make sure that this is nice and strong. And just meet up with the previous one and double this up nicely. You can now take this, place your little purse on the inside, should fit perfectly, just like that. You can now close the handbag and use this portion to sort of lock it together. I'm going to thread this through. Just be gentle with it as you kind of pull it all the way down and hook it on both sides very gently. That's going to close your little purse. So this is the beginning of what it's going to look like when it's nicely closed. And from here on out, everything else is going to be completely decorative. And what I want to show you is how to create the little three-dimensional lock. And I've also cut the little lock layer twice, once out of the ivory card and once out of that chrome card. Here I've left the center intact. I'm going to place this on here first. A nice layer here, but also the center portion. You don't have to adhere it all at once, but in any case, you place this here. The other one, of course, will go right in the middle, and that was just hanging out there on my fingernail. So I'm going to place that down first, and just make sure it's centered. It might travel a little bit if it has wet adhesive, but you can always bring it back. And I'm going to place adhesive on the decorative layer and just adhere that right on top. These two pieces can now adhere side to side. First, I'm going to fold the little tabs just to get them used to folding. The handle portion will be a valley fold, and it does have little score lines on it. So that's the only portion you actually want to fold toward you. Once you've got that done, you want to place adhesive on a side tab here and adhere these side to side. Once that's glued together, you can start closing this and adhere the opposite side. By overlapping that as well. The bottom is going to close with the short tabs facing in. Fold over one of the longer tabs. Apply adhesive to it. And overlap the opposite one. Just hold that closed. I like to use my table here. For the top, you're going to do the same thing. Fold in the side tabs first. You're going to want to apply adhesive to both of them. And then overlap one side. Pull back that little handle. And the two handles will meet right in the middle. Thinking this little tab wants to hide underneath the previous portion there, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Yep. Okay, so overlap them so that the longer tabs face the inside. You now have a little lock. Pretty. I'm going to be using this on the bottommost edge. So I'm skipping the little corner pieces just because I thought this would look really nice and delicate. And with these colors, I think it looks fantastic. Placing adhesive on that, and you can decide if you want to center this or if you want it to one side. So I'm going to place it right here in the middle, and then I'm going to take the metallic portion just to make it a little bit easier on myself. I'm going to place the adhesive here and then press this right in. Should fit perfectly because it's cut out of the different color paper but with the same die. Just be sure you give that a moment to dry. Okay, so now I can place the little zipper pull. Adhere this right on one end. And I thought this would look cute as just a little decorative key fob. So here I'm just going to adhere these little circles. It's just meant to be decorative at this point. On here. Flip that over and adhere the second one right on top. Try to match that up a little bit. I've taken the little purse out of the wallet, and I'm going to actually add this here as a little decorative element. And I'm just going to add a little drop of adhesive here. And of course you can add this with a ribbon or however you like. I'm simply going to place it here as a little decorative element. So there's that. I have these little corner pieces, and I'm actually going to cut them in half right along the score line. And I'm going to use them on this inner portion here. Give it a really pretty finish here. Once it's complete, can go right back in here. And then I've made the decision to use the little tag with the sentiment here. And if you get adhesive on the shiny paper, just take a little wet wipe and burnish it right off. It should clean very nicely. And what I'm going to do is take a piece of ribbon. This is 3mm wide ribbon from Tonic Studios. I'm going to fold that in half. And I have the little tag. This is going to go through all of this because it's all going to tie together. And then lastly, the little key fob. Place that through there. And once you have that situated, take half of the handle here, or both sides, it's up to you. And then I'm just going to feed this little loop through here. Make sure everyone's situated there. It's going to look super chunky and fun. And then I'm just going to do a little square knot here. And if you want to do a longer ribbon, of course, then you can create a little bow. But I think this is so cute. I'm picturing this for a hairdresser to give to her clients, or quinceañera to have on all the tables for the girls in her party, or just a ladies' tea party. I mean, so many different uses. Mother's Day, birthday, do it in Christmas papers and give all your girlfriends their Christmas gifts as little gift cards if you'd like to. Depends on the person, of course. But what a lovely presentation, especially if you are giving a gift card and sometimes you feel like that's not as personal as you would like it to be. This really personalizes it, especially if you add the colors that the person prefers. And that paper pack has so many beautiful options to make something that looks absolutely elegant and lovely. Let me know your thoughts. I've had a lot of fun. The hardest part was choosing what to put on the handbag, but this is super cute. I think it's adorable, and be sure to use the links below to get your hands on the subscription or a one-off purchase if you choose to do so. and enjoy this kit. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to read them. And don't forget to share what you make over on Facebook at the Tonic Studios official Facebook page with the hashtag #ShowTonic so that everyone can see it when they share it during their live videos on Fridays sometimes. But just make sure we can all take a peek at what you've made. We love to celebrate one another, of course. And as I always say, I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed, and I thank you so much for watching. Before moving on, I wanted to make a really quick correction in case you have not yet assembled your little handbag, and that is that these side portions here should actually have the pointy portion facing down as it does look here. So before you assemble everything, that's one little point I'm going to give you. These are facing the wrong way, and I apologize for that. They should be facing this way. The other thing to be mindful of is the placement of your embellishments. So if you would like to, for instance, you can hide a little magnet behind one of the circles and have it match with another so that you can open it here in the center rather than pulling it off of the sides. And that's just another option in case you want to add a lot of little movement elements here, such as here. For instance, this has to be removed before this can slip off of the handbag. The last thing I wanted to point out was that you can definitely use the little stamps. So here I used the Packed with Sparkle. I colored the center with an alcohol marker and then just added some crystal glaze in the center to make it shiny. And then over here I used a glitter pen for the little hearts that you see there. That's just as simple as using the supplies that you have on hand, such as the little ribbons, ink, anything else. And that's about it.